Everything you've always wanted to know about real estate, but didn't know who to ask. I'm your host, Angie Stanley. Today we have an amazing lineup. We have Mark Schultz, who is the VP Managing Broker of Solutions Real Estate. We also have Patty Hopper, who is an escrow officer with Oakwood Escrow. And we have Sam Goodwin with HOCOA. Hi, Mark. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thanks
Good.
for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on the show. Now tell me, Solutions Real Estate, I've seen you guys' advertising, your branding around town. Tell me a little bit about your company and what makes you guys different.
Well, Solutions Real Estate has been in Southern California for going on about 3 years now. Our main office is in Carlsbad. We just opened a new office in Alevinheim, and we also have an office in Temecula, as well as 5 offices in Arizona, and total almost 500 agents now, complete, totally. What makes us a little different is, I think, the fact that we help our agents to succeed. Our company is a little different, that we treat our agents as our clients. And their clients are buyers and sellers. Our clients are our agents. And so we try and treat them in that manner so that they do a good job, they like working with us, they refer other agents to come work with us, and that makes us a little different than most brokerages.
Very much so. That's very, very smart. How did you get involved with Solutions Real Estate?
I was approached by the owners, 2 of the owners, Dave Dion and Brent Connolly, a couple years ago about opening a brokerage out here and being the broker. I'd met him previously at some conventions and things like that, and the discussion came up about moving out here, and one thing led to another, and there we are.
And here you are. Awesome. So tell me, so you're talking about your agents are your clients. So what would you say when you're working with your agents that makes you unique from other maybe brokers?
Well, I think just the part that we do treat our agents as our clients is probably one of the biggest things that we do differently. And the fact that our model, which the owners are both real estate agents, is really set up to make agents as successful as possible. We don't charge extra fees, we don't charge for the copier, we don't charge for this, we don't charge for that, no desk fees, anything like that. And therefore, unless our agents are selling, the company's not making any money. So they have to be successful for us to be successful. When you have a model like that, then the entire company management is focused on the agents doing more business, which helps them, that helps us. And so I think that makes us a little unique. We're not depending on outside sources or fees or anything else, just the agents doing a good job, and that's what makes us, I think, different than a lot of brokerages.
Very unique. Now, do you have special training programs or anything like that as far as?
Yeah, we have quite a bit of training. We're members of Mike Ferry and Joe Stump, who are both coaches, a little different philosophies, but they both work. We have a lot of our own training that we do. Dave Dion, one of the owners, is an expert at Google, actually, and all sorts of internet marketing. So we help our agents with that. But it's still a relationship business, and so whereas the internet's important, it's not the only thing. So we have a lot of training in scripts and in listings and door knocking and all those sort of things, the traditional way of doing business.
The basics.
The basics, as well as the new technology being combined together to, again, make the agents as successful as possible.
Absolutely, a lot of support. So tell me, what do you think is the biggest misconception about today's real estate market?
I think people really think that financing is very difficult right now. They've read a lot about that in the papers and seen about that and the doom and gloom and whatever. The truth of the matter is that financing is not that difficult. There's still FHA programs, which is 3.5% down, VA 0 down. There are programs with, if you have 12 months bank statements even, you can still get a loan. You don't really even need a tax return. We're kind of getting back to that again a little bit. I have a client we just put into a home that had a short sale just over 2 years ago. So a lot of people have a misconception that if they've had a short sale or a bankruptcy that they'll never be able to buy again. The truth is they can buy again within a couple of years. So we're helping a lot of clients, it's called boomerang in the business now, and coming back into the market again, and they certainly can get financing. I think that's a misconception that a lot of people have, that they won't be able to get a loan, and the truth is they can.
I agree. I've been getting those emails lately about the 12 months bank statements, and I'm like, wow, it's definitely coming back and very interesting, because you're right, a lot of people think that they can't get lending.
Yep.
Now, someone that's looking to buy a home in a market like today, what would be maybe 3 top tips that you would give to them?
I think the first thing is really finding the right real estate agent to work with, and that's both on a personality level, that somebody you can get along with, because it's going to be kind of a long haul, and you're going to be doing a lot of meetings together and things like that. And for most people, it's still their largest purchase of their life, and so it's important to be with somebody that you like and that you trust and you can get along with. And that agent has to be somebody who is going to look out for you, the client, the buyer. People use the word agent a lot very simply, but agent is the same as if you were an agent for LeBron James or anybody else. Your job as an agent is to represent your client in the best possible manner, meaning either finding them the best house at the best price or helping them sell their house in the least amount of time at the highest amount of money that they can get. So you have to find an agent that is willing to work for you and that you get along with. I think another thing is important to get pre-qualified before you go out and look. And if you have a good agent, they'll probably have a lender they can refer to you. I use Jason Colburn from, it was BlueFi Lending, and they just changed over to Freedom Mortgage. But he's excellent with people, knows his programs, helps get people the right financing. So it's very important to get pre-qualified, because then you have a good idea of where you stand as far as what you can buy and what you can not buy, whatever the case may be. And I think the third thing is probably, with my clients, I try and get them to make a list of their needs and their wants. And there's a big difference between what you need and what you want. So you want to try and find a house with as many of the needs that are important to you, and then add as many wants into that as you can. It's always a compromise in buying a house, and you can never get the exact house you want, but you can get pretty close if you have a good agent.
Wow, great tip. And I think I need to work on the need and want list myself.
Right.
Well, thanks so much, Mark, for coming on. And next up, we have Patty Hopper, who is an escrow officer with Oakwood Escrow. And now we are joined with Patty Hopper, who is an escrow officer with Oakwood Escrow. Hi, Patty. How are you?
I'm good, Angie. Thanks. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
So tell me, what made you become an escrow officer? What goes through someone's mind to be like, oh, I'm going to be an escrow officer?
Well, my circumstances, I was in the field of veterinarian, and my sister, who was an escrow officer, called me one night and said, make sure you have a nice outfit because you have an interview tomorrow to come to work for an escrow company. And I started as a receptionist and worked my way up.
So you had no real interest, you just kind of got placed in the position.
That's right.
Wow. Well, you're amazing at what you do, so I guess that was your calling.
Maybe it runs in the blood.
Absolutely. So I'm sure you've worked for many companies over the years. You've been an escrow officer for how long?
20 years.
20 years. So you've probably worked at different places. What made you come to Oakwood Escrow, and what makes Oakwood Escrow different in your opinion since you have worked at other companies?
The biggest difference is the ownership. They just take very good care of the people here, and the marketing staff just is they rock. And the team here, everybody works together, and we do all work as a team.
Absolutely. So what made you make the move to Oakwood?
Well, I worked for one company for a really long time, and I wasn't getting the support. And knowing that Oakwood has this kind of a staff and team, it was just, the right place to go.
Easy decision. I love it. So escrow, I know that escrow has a lot of misconceptions out there and a lot of paperwork, a lot of scariness, a lot of people have. What would be the biggest misconception that you think people have about escrow?
Well, probably that we have control over making any decisions. Escrow is the neutral third party, and we have to take instructions from the principals. Escrow doesn't have any control over the lender and drawing loan documents. Pretty much the only thing that we have control over is preparing the paperwork for escrow instructions, sending it out, and sending it off to the appropriate parties.
So a lot of people think that you're able to maybe handle their loan or handle documents that really have nothing to do with you. So what do you do in that type of a situation? How do you handle that?
Try to give them an explanation about the course of the transaction and what happens, and try and get to the person that will be able to give them the answer. So we give the call to the lender and make sure that we can give them an answer of the status of their loan.
A lot of education.
Mm-hmm.
So I know Oakwood is an independent escrow company, and what do you think the difference is between maybe an independent escrow company and a company that has title tied to them?
They care more. It's not this company, and the first company that I worked for that was an independent seems to care more about the customer than the bottom line dollar.
Absolutely. So 3 tips that you would give someone looking, or not looking, but that is going into escrow. Top 3 tips to have them set up to have a successful escrow transaction.
I would probably direct that more towards the agents. So for a listing agent, it would be important for a smooth transaction for them to have HOA information available and payoff information so that we can get that stuff ordered up front and ahead of time. Statements of information from the buyers and the sellers. The agent can encourage the transaction, the principals in the transaction, to get those to us so that we can get things cleared so there's no liens that pop up the day before we're supposed to close. And third, I'm at a loss.
So it just sounds like just being really prepared and having kind of your ducks in a row so that everything goes smoothly.
Yes.
And a lot of that I do think goes back to education.
Yes. And as much information up front that you can give an escrow officer so that we can run with it, the better.
So what do you do with your agent clients to prepare them so that they can then prepare their clients to have a good escrow transaction? Do you have a checklist? Do you do classes, education? How do you educate your clients, which would be the realtors or the agents, to then have this information to pass on to their clients?
A lot of it's phone conversations. I do some classes. I do absolutely have a checklist. A lot of times agents don't fill it out completely, so I encourage them. I will call them when I receive one that's not completed so that I can get all of the information. And I think just the opportunity to connect with them that way, they'll fill it out more completely the next time so that I can get all the information I need. A lot of what I do is calling and asking the same questions, but most of the people that I work with are getting used to the fact that those are the answers that I need.
Absolutely. And I kind of jumped ahead, but to the general consumer that's out there watching this today, give your big picture definition of what is escrow.
What is escrow? Escrow is we're the paper pushers and the money collectors. So an agent that I worked with a long time ago told me that I was the quarterback of the transaction. So basically I get handed the ball and I just run with it. And I walk you through the beginning steps of after you've signed the contract, you sign escrow instructions. And once you've done that, I walk you through what happens with your lender, with the seller. You pay off your loan. We walk them through loan documents, signing once we get the documents, and any questions that they have in between. And if I don't have an answer, I can always point them in the direction of who's got the answer for them. For example, if there's an HOA and they've got questions regarding a specific situation with the HOA company, I would provide them with the information to contact the HOA company directly.
Absolutely. I like that, the quarterback. I always hear the glue of the transaction. I like the quarterback.
I was always the quarterback.
So last final thing, how important is it when you're choosing your escrow officer experience?
I think it's really important. There are a lot of things that can come up in a transaction, and if an escrow officer hasn't done it before, or they've not heard or had the experience, you can run into problems, and it can cause the whole transaction to fall apart.
Absolutely, and I think experience also helps you foresee these possible issues and
Absolutely.
eliminate them. Great, Patty. Well, it was all very informative. And next up, we are joined with Sam Goodwin, who is from Hakoah. Hello, and now we are excited to be joined by Sam Goodwin with Hakoah. Hi, Sam. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me on the show today.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on the show. So tell me, what is Hakoah?
Well, that's a great question. Hakoah is an association designed to alleviate the stress and hassle out of home repair and maintenance. We're a live and local group, kind of like a concierge service for your home, where homeowners can make a call anytime, day or night, to get in touch with great contractors and service providers.
Wow. Now, when you say contractors and service providers, does that mean like housekeeper or house cleaners and window cleaners, and what all does that entail?
It entails a lot. So it's landscapers to general contractors to handymen to window treatments to carpet cleaners to maid service to pool cleaning. Everything from the inside out, from the top to the bottom. We can do almost everything except for pick up your house and move it down the road.
Wow, amazing. I like that. And then this is your company or your franchise, and what made you start this?
Well, at the time I was living in Virginia, Richmond, Virginia to be specific, and we were in the process of relocating back here to home, Southern California, and we needed a painter to paint the exterior of the house, and we wanted to get 3 estimates. Well, I'd spent hours online looking at reviews, trying to figure out which painter to call, to where I met a friend who was running at the time this franchise. We became friends, and he said, just give me a call. And so I said, okay, and I gave him a call, and I gave him my information, and he told me to hang up the phone. And I said, well, don't I need the numbers for the painters? He said, our painters will call you back. And within an hour, I had 3 painters call me back that were licensed and insured. They all showed up. They all gave me competitive estimates. And that's when the light bulb went off, and I said, well, why can't I do this back home?
Wow, I love that. And so obviously you saw a real need for something like this. This is how you fell into it. So what was your next step? Did you just the next day decide to open up a franchise, or?
No, I didn't do that. What I actually did was I went to work for him for the following 2 weeks. And I basically shadowed him and saw what he did and what his operation was about, and in terms of how he interviewed the contractors, because that's the great thing about Hakoah is contractors can't just knock on our door and throw us some money and say, put me on your list, please. They basically have to go through an interview process. We do National Criminal Registered Sex Offender background check on our contractors. We check references, and we become holders of their certificates of insurance. And we actually follow up every step of the way through to make sure that our contractors and service providers are providing a great service to our customers. If a contractor doesn't perform, then we basically drop them from our network.
I love that.
Yeah.
And so you have a membership program. Tell me a
Yes.
little bit about that. I know there's 2 different angles to it.
Right, so we have 2 different types of membership. One that's specifically for the homeowner. So a homeowner, just like some of these other organizations out there, such as AAA or Costco, we have an annual membership fee of $75, and that basically gets the homeowner access to our service 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It also provides them huge savings. And when I mean huge savings, we get wholesale pricing on flooring, on cabinets, countertops, finished fixtures, and more. And then we get builder pricing on new appliances, exercise equipment, mattresses, whole house water filtration systems, and more as well. So that membership gets them access to that. We have a program specifically designed for folks in the real estate industry that allows them to give out 1-year memberships as a gift, as a closing gift, or as a renewal gift to their prospects and clients. And that's one of our platinum membership programs. And that's where we co-market our brand with that real estate professional and help them get more access and give more value to their clients.
What a great closing gift, since you're going to be needing all of those resources and tools. So that kind of brings me to my next question, the real estate market. How does that affect your business?
It affects it greatly. When the economy is good, everybody's looking to do improvements to their house. When the economy is not so good, or things are slowing down in the market, people are just doing the bare minimum. So we really focus on making sure that we help out the homeowner as best as we can by putting them in touch with the right people. And that's the big thing is, people will try to go compete on price, which is, everybody wants to save $1, don't get me wrong. But you don't want to be paying for somebody's mistake and fixing that down the road. So the economy and the real estate market definitely affects our business.
Do you get a lot of people, I'm just thinking, sometimes when you need these services, people are Googling, housekeeper or whatever. Do you get a lot of horror stories of people coming to you being like, oh, I had the worst experience because I found someone online or whatever?
Yeah, that's a lot of our calls are that way. You know what, hey Sam, we've had a bad experience with the contractor, or we had this happen to us 2 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever. And probably half the people that are looking for our kind of service have had that experience in the past. It's nice to know that you have a company there to back you up and to be able to, for lack of a better term, really hold your hand through the process to ensure quality and satisfaction. Again, our homeowners, that's what they expect. They want to save time, and they want somebody that's going to be there to help them through the process.
Absolutely. So I know that you had mentioned the preferred contractors. How would someone go about being on your preferred list? I know they have to be regulated, but...
Right. Well, so again, they have to go through a face-to-face interview process. Most of our contractors and service providers come to us by referral. So they're people, other contractors that have worked in our network, or members that have had a great experience with us that want to refer, hey, you know what, I know of a great plumber or painter. And so what that process looks like is that they sit down with actually me face to face, and we go through an interview process. We have references that they have to provide to us, that which we check. And then, like I said, we have to become certificate holder of their insurance and go through the National Criminal Registered Sex Offender background check as well. So we go through all this due diligence, if you will, to make sure that, hey, you know what, we can't eliminate the risk of having a bad experience with the contractor, but we can greatly minimize or reduce the risk of having a bad experience.
Absolutely, your chances are going to be a lot better. So to kind of wrap things up, I know that Hakoah is a franchise. If someone was interested in starting their own franchise or joining, forces with you, how would they go about that?
Well, they can contact me directly if they want to, and my phone number is 760-720-7474. They can go to our website, which is at Hakoah, HOCOA-CA.com, and contact me through our website as well. More than happy to talk to them about it. We are expanding in the San Diego market. We have somebody that's joining us in central San Diego that will be owning their own franchise very soon.
Wonderful. Well, amazing information. I was not familiar that this was out there, so I'll be using you in the future as well.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. And if you would like to be one of our guest stars on this show, go to oakwoodtv.tv. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.